Good afternoon, everyone. I am digital producer here at WFXG Fox54, Felicia Basket. And today I have the honor of sitting with Assistant Professor. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm about to mess up already. Let me stop. We're good friends. Bayo Anabule, who is an assistant professor at Augusta University, and you're also the coordinator of the Counselor Education Training Center. So tell us a little bit about what you do. I know I gave you an introduction, but you can kind of elaborate more on it.
Yeah, thank you, Felicia.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, I've been at the university for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
about 7 years. I was originally in the counseling center, providing mental health services to students. This fall, in August,
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned to a role as an assistant professor, a full-time faculty member.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, I'm also the clinical coordinator for the Counselor Education Training Center, which is part of the research and counseling and curriculum department.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this role, I've had an opportunity to work with students in the classroom, and in hopefully in January, I'll have an opportunity to begin providing clinical supervision to the students who might be coming through the Counselor Education Training Center. My passion has been working as a clinician, providing mental health services to students and community members. My experience kind of uh, has allowed me to work with the entire general population in terms of age groups. But I recognized that my passion was working with college age students, those emerging adults, as
Mm-hmm.
they're called. And so now I have an opportunity to not just provide mental health services to them, but
Mm-hmm.
actually help them develop their skills as well as future mental health providers. So,
I think
yeah.
that's a beautiful opportunity,
Yeah.
and I love that you're very passionate about it. So, before we start getting into the topic, I wanted to get you to tell us a little bit more about the Counselor Education Training Center and what can not only the students expect, but for the community as well.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So primarily, our services are for the students in the counselor education uh, training program. So these are students who are studying to be mental health professionals. Um, we recognized that they would benefit from having a place where they could develop their clinical skills. Usually, they will go out into the community when they start to take their practicum and internship courses. They go out into the community to find organizations that are looking to hire interns to work with them. But Dr. Alicia Beckton,
Mm-hmm.
who's the chair of the department, and Dean Judy Wilson, who's the dean of the College of Education and Human Development. Both of them kind of spearheaded this position to make sure that our students in the counselor education program have this resource available to them where they can go develop their practicum skills, their abilities to follow ethical practice and learn, healthy self-care and coping skills, and really provide services to the community. So that's the primary focus
Mm-hmm.
of our program is creating a space for our students to develop their skills. In addition to that, students at the university, Augusta University, have an opportunity to also benefit from the CETC. Their primary kind of source for mental health care while they're students is the counseling center on campus. That's student counseling and psychological services. But in cases where SCAPS, as we call it, has an overflow or has students whose needs might be outside of the scope of SCAPS,
Mm-hmm.
they're able to refer those students to us, where we might be able to work with them for a longer period of time. We might be able to see those students sooner than SCAPS can. And so suddenly students on campus have this additional resource for mental health support, which we're very excited to be able to kind of meet the need and provide this resource to students who might really benefit from
Yeah,
getting mental health care.
definitely. And
Yeah.
since we're talking about mental health care, we have Thanksgiving that's coming up very
Right,
soon.
right.
So, what do you think for people, especially with students being in the area? Some may not be able to go back home, and there's been a growing trend for years with Friendsgiving. Why do you think that's important, and why do you think that's becoming popular?
Yeah, yeah. Friendsgiving is really an attempt by typically young people
Mm-hmm.
or individuals who might be working far away from home, maybe going to school far away from home. It's an attempt by them to create a new space where they can feel safe, they can feel secure, they can connect with other people, and they can eat good food
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, right? So Friendsgiving gives them an opportunity to create, like a found family, right? A chosen family, as opposed to the biological family.
Mm-hmm.
If there's distance, some people are estranged from family, and so they can't go home and celebrate Thanksgiving. They suddenly have an opportunity to gather their friends, their coworkers, their neighbors, their classmates, and kind of recreate that experience with one another.
So, what advice would you give to any student who may be kind of a little bit hesitant about going
Mhm.
to a Friendsgiving, but they know they want to have that connection
Yeah,
during the holiday?
yeah. I think the first thing I'll say is, yeah, it makes sense if it feels a bit awkward, if they're a
Mm-hmm.
bit shy. It's a very intimate thing to settle down and have a meal with another person.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you to really drop your defenses, and
Yeah.
then you can really get to know people. You can share a lot of intimacy and just the moments where you are having a meal with them. And there's so much socialization that goes along with that. So I encourage anyone who feels nervous about doing something like that to just go with it, to just accept that, yeah, this might be a bit awkward, but it's going to be worth the effort. And then I encourage folks who might be interested in participating in a Friendsgiving to consider initiating,
Mm-hmm.
this process by maybe approaching your classmates, approaching someone else who might be in your residence hall and is going to be here over the holidays, and inviting them to participate with you in a Friendsgiving. It doesn't have to be elaborate. They don't have to cook like a 3 course or 5 course meal. It could be something as simple as like a potluck, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity for people to gather, get to know each other, connect, share some fellowship, and again eat some good food.
Do you feel like it helps people feel more connected to the area once they attend things like Friendsgiving?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think of my experience as well as a student who came to the U.S. from Nigeria many years ago, 1,000 years ago, to study. And for those first few years where I kind of was on my own and I had to kind of find a way to fit in, I was lucky to be invited to Thanksgiving dinners and to Friendsgiving dinners. And those really gave me an opportunity to connect and to feel like I belonged. And what I did and what I've seen a lot of other people do is like continue that tradition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you now feel a sense of ownership about being able to do this with other people. So yeah, I think it can really be a way for people to connect with the people around them and to feel like they can also participate in the traditions, whatever those might be, that are taking place around them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And since we're on the topic of Friendsgiving and talking
Mhm.
about mental health,
Mhm.
because I do feel like Friendsgivings are really beneficial, especially being, I know for me, when I first went to college, I wasn't too far away and I could always go back home, but I always did feel kind of sad when some people, some of my friends, or maybe someone, just another peer would say, I'm not going back home.
Mhm.
I'm just going to stay in the dorms for it's too far. What are some signs that you feel that someone might be struggling emotionally with during the holidays, and how do you feel other people can kind of help when they notice those signs?
Yeah, that's a great question, Felicia. Um, so your question actually reminded me of a few different clients who
Mm-hmm.
are students at the university that
Mm-hmm.
I was working with as a mental health professional.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember how uh, difficult it often was for them to come upon the holidays and to have no plans,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to have nowhere to go and to have no one to spend that time with. And, you know, the holidays are a very merry, fun time, but for some people, they can be a time of a lot of like sadness and loneliness and homesickness and isolation. And so, yeah, I really encourage people to look out for one another and to kind of check in with one another. If you're noticing, you know, at about around the holidays, you're noticing friends starting to kind of shift in their mood.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they are more irritable than they used to be, maybe more quiet or withdrawn than they used to be. This might be a sign that, like, the holidays might represent a lot of stress for
Mm-hmm.
them. And so, nothing wrong with like checking in with them and just, you know, just pulling them aside and you know, letting them know, hey, I noticed you being quiet, just wanted to check in on you. You want to talk about it? You know, they might say yes, they might say no,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if they say yes, great. You have an opportunity, you know, to talk with them, and they'll probably spill their guts and let you know everything that's going on. But even if they said no, it still gives you an opportunity to kind of let them know that, you know, someone's paying attention and someone's kind of looking out for them. In the future, you might be able to reinitiate the discussion with them, to check in with them again,
Mm-hmm.
or you might even be able to let them know that, like, hey, if you change your mind and you do want to talk about it in the future, you can approach me. I'm here for you. And that allows the conversation to continue, right? So that they don't have to be alone or like stay in their funk, right?
Yeah.
In that time, that season.
I feel like that kind of, when you kind of like extend the olive branch to someone, that opens the door also
Yeah.
for friendships to open up.
Yeah.
And like you said, people, sometimes you never know what somebody's going through or how alone they feel during the holidays unless you really talk.
That's right.
So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So I have one more question. How do you feel, since we're talking about friendship, how does
Mhm.
building friendships and social networks positively impact a student's overall wellness?
Oh, in tremendous ways. The experience of leaving home,
Mm-hmm.
leaving like the home base, the safe haven, you know, the place you're familiar with, and, you know, in some cases traveling across the state, in some cases across the country or across the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be with, you know, people you've never met and you don't know and you may not understand. Very scary thing, right? And so, what I often encourage, um, you know, my clients and my students to
Mm-hmm.
do is, you know, to make sure that they are connecting, they are, you know, taking the risk of, you know, having conversations with other people, you know, checking in on other people, checking with one another, even in
Mm-hmm.
the classroom, just to make sure that no one kind of gets kind of left behind or excluded, and that people can celebrate the holidays and can find fellowship and belonging during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And would your advice be the same for, I know we are talking about students, but as
Mhm.
far as the community aspect too, because some people move here for certain jobs,
That's right.
and I know that can be kind of hard too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are. I think there are a lot of opportunities for our students to engage socially.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many opportunities for encountering each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think of people who might be working in the community who they go to work, they finish at work, and then they go home, and there
Yeah.
are no further opportunities to interact. And I I really kind of think the best way to help one's own self
Mm-hmm.
is to try to help others, because, you know, inevitably you'll end up kind of doing some good for yourself as well. So I encourage folks to get out and see how they can maybe contribute in the community. In the holidays, you're feeling lonely, you might not have anything planned. Well, see if there's, a soup kitchen or, some other community event that you can partner with or you can go volunteer at. It'll get you out of the house, it'll get you engaging, it'll get you connecting. That is something that I've wanted to do for years, and I've been quite privileged and lucky that I've always had other events to do during the holidays. But it will be such a great way to connect and extend that feeling that I enjoy so much to other people, right? During the holidays, during that season. So yeah, I encourage others to do that too.
Well, awesome. And just to go back right before we wrap up,
Yeah.
you are the clinical coordinator of the Counselor Education Training Center at Augusta University, and you're also an assistant professor, which I think is amazing. So when can students, one more time, students in the community expect for the CETC building to open?
Yeah, great question. So we are working on developing the program, and we want to make sure that this is like a smash hit and really brings value to primarily the students in the counselor education program who will be kind of getting their clinical experience there, but also to the students on campus who will be able to utilize, the offices we have and the services we provide at no additional cost, right, for students. But something I didn't mention is that in the future, we hope to be able to broaden our services to include not just students, but also community members, right? Faculty, staff, residents of the Augusta CSRA area. And so, we are very excited about this opportunity. We are kind of going full speed ahead.
Yeah.
We hope to have a soft emphasis on soft launch this spring 2026 semester. And that's in January. And with a more official launching to follow thereafter.
Awesome. Well, again, I thank you for joining me this afternoon to talk with me about just the importance of Friendsgiving during the holidays. It's very important.
Yeah.
And I thank you for educating everyone about what's to come, especially with the Counselor Education Training Center. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.